All right, welcome everyone. Session 2, round 2 of our Universal Design Daily Book Study. As we're waiting for folks to enter, I'm going to play your book snaps that you made. These are lovely. Nope. Ah, there we go. Welcome to all of you who are still coming in. We appreciate you being here. We're taking a look at the book snaps that you made. Some from our current section on professional development, some from the last section on the ABCs of UDL, some in progress as we speak. Thank you so much for those who were able to make one. These are great.
If anyone wants to raise their hand and share out their book snap, tell us about your book snap. Now's a good time as we're waiting for more people to log on.
I did pour the coffee. I'm a preschool special education teacher, and I'm always looking for ways to involve families. And I was just thinking about how this is sort of, I've tried, parent information sessions, but this is another good way to bring parents together to work in kind of like a general way that isn't so focused on their own child, but they can make connections with each other and talk and learn how to use some of the visuals that they may be creating, but in a little less of a formal way. So I kind of really like this idea.
Awesome. We're going to find yours and bring it up now that you've shared with us.
Oh, it's not all that special.
Oh, they're all great. I
yeah.
love how unique they are.
They are. Thanks for sharing. Sorry, I couldn't find it quicker. I had a little difficulty.
I think it's there at the beginning.
Let's see.
Oh, there it is.
It is.
Green one.
For the coffee.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
We'd love to hear from others.
I did the one about the library, start your collection, day 35. It's a bit down. And I was like, I found it poignant to me. It's right there because I just cleared up our teacher professional section of our library. So I have down at the bottom, I have like all these books from the 80s and 90s. And then I even found, I kept one because I had to. They had a strip, the old, you load the slideshow strip and you play the cassette, and it's like, I have to keep one. It's a museum piece. That's all it is. But then like I'm trying and I'm reaching out to my principal who has a little section already in our office, but the secretaries would love to see it migrate to the library. And just trying to like, oh, I should talk. Oh wait, I am the librarian. Okay, and then I also added, because like almost right after that is like the book club one and the articles. It's like, well, there's some ideas for books I need to add to the library right there.
Perfect.
Yes, that's an awesome one. And perhaps as we all have some ideas about books we've read, books we want to read, we can share and start a list for each other on books around UDL and inclusive learning.
Thank you. Jenny, I see Jenny's hand.
I was going to volunteer just in case nobody else did, but
I appreciate it.
along with the preschool special education teacher too, just I'm slide number 19 and I did tip 5, help them help you. And this year of all years, I think, and last spring, this was essential. And being able to share what we do and give parents tips and have easy access to understanding what it is that we do, because a lot of times if they couldn't access virtual therapy, they might miss. And so we made videos on how to make sounds and what parents can do. And we made a website for just the speech pathologist for the district and gave all kinds of different resources for parents on that. And so I thought that was a big one this year for us. We got lots of positive feedback from parents and staff too. So that was always nice.
Oh, that's great. And now you have something that you can continue to use, right?
Yeah.
So nice about.
Definitely want to refine the videos. I think I'm in all of them because I did the Screencastify. I was the only one that was willing to do it, I guess. And so it's like, now I look back and I crack up. I'm thinking, oh yeah, well, that would have been good to add this, or, but they're done.
Right. Right. That's great. Thanks for sharing.
With Screencastify, they're pretty easy to go in and edit. You can crop them. You could even add in little things later.
That'll be summer. Yeah. Summer activities.
Yeah.
Right. When you have the time. Does anyone else want to share about their book snap? I'll just pull them up again real quick while we're. These are great.
And thank you for sharing the book snap, because I think that also is something that I'm sharing with my teachers now. And I think it's so much more fun for the kids to be able to get something out of the chapter, you know, versus having to just tell like, oh, this will be great for the middle school and high school kids too.
Great. And it's a little less intimidating than a book. What is that called? What
Just
is
the
that called?
summary, the summary.
Yeah. 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 Great. Okay, well, if anyone wants to share later, we might have a little time at the end as well. But I think we can go ahead and get started. So here we are. Okay, as a reminder, I'm Sarah Kinsella here with Kristen Leslie from the Special Education Technology Center. We also have Sue right here helping us out. So we're on section 2 of Universal Design Daily Book Study by Paula Kluth. And here we are. We've got 2 more to go. So lots of time to keep working at this and invite your colleagues or go discuss with people when you're done. I've heard from a few people saying that they're teaming up and able to share with colleagues. That's fun to hear. So as a reminder, we have our Google Classroom. I've seen a lot of folks on there. And we have the handouts in a folder. So same information 2 ways. In the Google Classroom, if you're having a difficult time joining, that's okay. It does need to be your personal Gmail account if you have one. It won't work with the educational account. But everything is also in the Google folder. There's a little bit different structure in the folder now because we have these 3 documents for every time. We've got the book snaps, we have our norms, and a new document that is a place to keep track of the tools or strategies that come up during these conversations. So I just put a few in from last week when we had some sharing at the end and a few things from the chat. So we'll make sure to keep information from the chat on here too. But if you'd like to add things in as we're going, feel free, that would be great. And otherwise, at the end, when we come back and share all together, we'll make sure to add into this document. So you have that here. Everything from our first session is in here, June 9th. And then everything for today will be in this folder. All right. Okay.
Okay, so last session, we were focused on understanding UDL, and all the tips were around us increasing our knowledge of what it is to implement UDL. And with that, there was this great statement in the book that Universal Design for Learning is a framework that inspires development of environments and experiences that are flexible, responsive, and relevant for all students. So that's great for us to keep in mind as we move forward. Now, the second section is similar to the first in that it's focused on educators. So now we're going to be focusing on professional development with UDL. So we can move to the next slide, Siri.
Sorry.
So this is our section, PD for UDL. So the tips focus on how to plan for our professional development for UDL. And so in seeing those who registered, you put your role, and many of you are in a formal role where you need to plan for professional development. Whether you're administrator, teacher on special assignment, or a coach, you have that formal role. So this will give you a lot of tips around helping teachers and staff move forward. But also, as teachers and related services, you can kind of be in an informal role of providing professional development every day as you're working with paraeducators, as you're co-teaching, as you're working with each other. So I think, all of these tips are going to be helpful as we're teaching others UDL and as we're planning for our own professional development with UDL. All of us participate in professional development, and we know we've been in professional development that is very meaningful, and we connect with it, and it moves our practice forward, it shifts our thinking. We've also been in professional development where it's not meaningful to us and we're not connecting and it feels like a waste of time. So I think these tips will help us provide more meaningful professional development and participate in planning our own professional development. Okay, so with that in mind, we were going to go over just a few of the tips before we jump into all of us reflecting and then sharing out together. So one of the tips was on day 30, and it talked about if you learn best in a group, then seek out to start your own professional learning community. So a professional learning community, it's different than getting together with job alike, planning your schedules, planning thematic lesson units. It's very much focused on student results. It's focused on improving classroom practices. And so you have this structured time to collaborate with colleagues that's focused around some clear goals for your own professional development. We wanted to share out that, some of you may not have that professional learning community established. So if you're looking for an online professional learning community, kind of like we're doing here, but we have one that's focused on UDL in the fall. So we have, we did this last year, and a group gets together over time to drive their own learning and focus on UDL. So maybe start your own, or feel free to join online. We'll get that in the chat. I have the link right here, just in case you're interested. So that was one of the tips. Another tip that she stressed as she started this section was to start a collection. And we had someone share their book snap on this tip already. Looking at your collection of professional development books that your district has or your building has, and thinking about what could we do to update that. Talking with your administrators. If you are an administrator, be thinking about what books can I provide for all of us educators to be moving forward with UDL and have some choice around it. Because if we look at this book versus some other real dense theory books, that meets a different need. And so having a collection that can meet many learners' needs would be wonderful. So books that address co-teaching and flipped classroom and student engagement, brain-based learning and equity, you know, a variety of books that deal with inclusive education. There was the idea of the birthday book cart, where teachers could go and pick out a book on improving their UDL practices. So just again, I'll mention SETC, the Special Ed Tech Center opportunities to participate in some book studies that you might want in your lending library. So again, we're doing Universal Design Daily in the fall, and we're doing another one called Inclusive 365 that starts, I think, in December. So we'll get those links in the chat just in case you're interested, and we can put them in a follow-up email as well. Let me just get those in before I move on. I can't wait to get to the part where you guys are sharing out your tips. So we're going to cruise through the next couple and then get on to some reflecting. So another awesome tip was to build a plan. And we're just going to show a quick little video on the UDL Exchange, where you can build lessons, you can look at others' lessons, browse others' lessons. So let's just take a look at what this resource has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
You may need to control your own volume to hear this adequately.
Right. So this is the UDL Exchange website. You do need to create an account to get in, but it's free. And this is that graphic that Kristen was showing. But here's the video. We'll start. And if anyone has experience with this website or something that they really love as a takeaway, let us know in the chat or share out after the video, any way that you've used it. And did we do our technology chant or our rubbing our hands together? I saw that in the chat last time too. Let's try that one.
We know that as an educator, you have lots of things on your plate. Implementing universal design for learning doesn't have to be one more thing to juggle. We created UDL Exchange, a tool dedicated to helping you easily integrate UDL into your practice. UDL Exchange is a tool you can use to create, organize, and share ideas and materials for implementing UDL into your learning environment. Add UDL resources, compose UDL lesson plans, and organize them into a UDL collection. Use the built-in scaffolds, supports, and model UDL collections to guide you in authoring quality UDL materials. Explore and discover valuable UDL materials that have been developed and recommended by other educators. There are lots of different ways to find what you're looking for. Use search terms and filter the result by purpose, grade, content area, or Common Core standard. Remixing is a quick and easy way to make your own version of other educators' shared UDL materials to better fit your needs. Collaborate with other educators across the country, as well as with your colleagues in your professional learning community. With just a few clicks, you can share your favorite resources with other educators in UDL Exchange. You can also leave a comment on other educators' work and make recommendations to your colleagues. UDL Exchange, building UDL practices together. Sign up now and take full advantage of these features.
Does anybody want to share anything about that? Have you used it? Anything that stands out to you?
So this might be new to many of us. And as you could see in the video, it's focused on building lessons. But but the UDL way. So you may be taking lessons that you already have and then building options within those lessons, and it just helps guide you with that. And it's fun to see what other people have done across grade levels too.
I have a comment. I would just like to say that this is kind of what I hear most from people is they really want to see what UDL looks like in the classroom. So I love this, how they built out this tool. I know it's been in development for a little while. Another thing I did recently that was another fun way to get teacher stories is we used Flipgrid and had teachers record short videos of how they were engaging students in the classroom, or, you know, using representation or expression options. So that's another way we've been kind of trying to gather some of those examples from the field. So I just wanted to share that too.
Good idea, Rose. And do you want to just show, quickly tell about what Flipgrid is for those who haven't used it?
Yes, Flipgrid. It's actually purchased. It's owned by Microsoft now, but it's an easy way for you to set up lessons and topics. Like I set up a UDL topic on engagement, and then I invite participants to just click on an icon, a video icon, and just in real time, just record a quick video for anywhere from 90 seconds. You can kind of actually set it higher if you want, but 90 seconds to a couple minutes is a good amount of time. And then it records right in that lesson, and participants can go look through all the videos that are available and just click and listen to them. So you don't have to do any editing. You know, you just kind of click start and stop. You can delete it and start over. Easy to use. And ideally what you want is your students to feel free to use that as a UDL option, so they don't have to write or type. They can just say it and talk, and often they get really creative with video. So Flipgrid.
Thanks, Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
Thank you.
jump in. This is Kelly in Puyallup, and we used Flipgrid a lot during the pandemic. Even our preschool teachers sending different questions out to families, and then the kids would, you know, with parent help, would send videos back. So we had a lot of engagement via Flipgrid when maybe that was our only engagement we were getting with some families. And so it was a tool that we really relied on, and I suspect will be one that we'll continue to use for a variety of things.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Rose. We'll make sure to add that to our tools spreadsheet. Sounds like a really important one. Okay. Kristen, did you want to talk about day 46?
Yeah, so whichever tips you choose or that land with you, we want to be setting goals around our professional development. So we see these are very specific. I will try 10 UDL tips from this book by December 10th. And most of these are very action-based. I'm going to do this. But I also wanted to challenge you to write some goals around reflection. Looking back, considering how a lesson went. How did it go for the kids? Because there's a lot to be learned just in sitting still and thinking about not just evaluating the content and how they did, but evaluating the process and what worked, what didn't work, and what more you could do there with options for student learning. As well, this reflection is great on our own, but it's also good to get together with a colleague, because they're going to ask different questions, right? They're going to ask things about things we didn't think of. And so that will challenge our thinking and also just expand what we do. So set some goals once you figure out some of these tips that you want to implement.
Mm-hmm. And next session, when we get together, we will have time to share out a little bit about goals if you've had a chance to set any, or even if you just think you're kind of exploring some ideas for goals, that'd be fine. Okay. So we're getting now to the time where we get to reflect, and we're going to start by looking at our own learning and thinking about what were some of the best experiences that you've had. So Kristen mentioned that you may have had some really fascinating, impactful professional development experiences, and maybe some that weren't so, but what makes learning meaningful to you? What really worked for you? So we're just going to take 2 minutes here to reflect on this, and then come back together, and we'll do another waterfall in the chat where we type it in, but we don't click enter until we do a countdown. So just take a few minutes. What's been meaningful for your professional development? What stands out? You can think of a few words. And as you're thinking, you can type it into the chat if you want, but don't push enter yet. Okay, so start to put your ideas into the chat, but don't push enter yet. We will do a countdown. That's okay. People are excited to share. We'll do a countdown and start our waterfall. Looks like people might be ready. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Lovely.
We're going to have to save this chat and share it out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You can take a minute to read through the chat. I'm seeing a lot about active participation and engagement, meaningful, practical strategies, things you can apply right away, collaboration,
Modeling, choice. I saw kind of on demand or ready-made.
Mm-hmm. This is great. If anybody who has shared or who hasn't shared yet, if you want to speak about it, we have a few minutes if you'd like to share a little bit more about what's made professional development meaningful for you, or if you have an example. So feel free to unmute if you'd like.
I find that the professional development that is relevant to what I do rather than just one size fits all. And also where I'm actually learning something, like sometimes it's like, you know, a Psych 101 class or whatever, where it's very general information that you spend the first 45 minutes talking about stuff you already know. And then you get to the part where you're starting to learn something new and you're out of time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, I would totally agree with you on that. I actually wrote like depth for me is like so important. I feel like it's what we're trying to do with our kids, right? That's what our standards are about. And so much of our PD is like just, well, we're going to learn a whole lot about like a whole lot of little things. And it's like, no, I really, really, really need to go deeper into those things. And one of my favorite professional developments was run by Adrienne Kennard from UW, and it was math development. And I'm looking at what everyone was talking about. It's that idea of we're going to talk about it, we're going to go practice it, we're going to come back, reflect, then we're going to go back and do some more. And it was just, we were constantly moving. There was never this time when you went, oh, what time is it? You know what I mean? And it was just so interesting, and it was just great. It was I look back in so many other ones. I just sat there and I was like, okay, yeah, already, yep, got it. And I feel like here we are talking about UDL and how do we reach all of our kids. And I feel like PD has always been one size fits all, where it should be thinking about what do we all need as well. I find that kind of ironic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kathy. You hit the nail on the head with that.
My favorite came from Pam Harris, who does math. She does math as figure outable. Maybe knows her. And what I appreciate about her is she doesn't assume that everybody already knows all the basics, all the foundational work. And she, as she goes along, she takes the time to explain it. And I really appreciate that, because I don't know everything. And I appreciate people that acknowledge that I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Valerie. there's a kind of a balance of making sure things are covered and going deep into certain topics, isn't there? Anyone else want to share out?
Hi, this is Jill Clune, and I would say really impactful PD was when we had coaching going on our campus. I was last teaching at a high school in SETC, and we did have literacy coaching and studio time where we could visit another teacher's classroom and watch the teaching and the coaching happening and then debrief together. And it was really powerful when we were also teaching that same content and then could sort of reflect and co-plan how we would adjust or modify or what other supports we might bring in. And also just like the ongoing collaboration with that team of teachers, sharing the content over time was invaluable.
Thanks, Jill. Definitely. Okay. Thanks, everyone. These are some really great thoughts. I'm really excited to see where we all take this as well. I feel like we're going to need some sort of connection in the fall where we say, hey, how's it going? Because this is pretty
Awesome
exciting.
idea.
Okay, so Kristen, go ahead.
Sure. So a couple people have asked when we do breakout rooms, could we do job alike, age group and all that. This time, we're still going to keep it random because of the topic of professional development. And I know that administrators want to hear what teachers and para-educators have to say, and teachers want to hear what administrators have to say. So I think this is a good time to keep it random. But next time around, as we get to the specific tips for the classroom, we'll look at doing some job alike breakout rooms.